Hey Justin, how you doing?
Good, Matt. Thank you. Nice to see you.
All right. My name's Matt. We're here. We're going to do a session today. As you know, I'm a mental health counseling student at Nova Southeastern University. This is for one of my classes called Mental Health Counseling Techniques. My professor will be reviewing this session to see what I can improve on. And I heard we talked a little bit earlier in the week about you stressing about getting into grad school, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Do you have any questions before we start?
Nope.
All right. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about what's going on?
All right. Well, pretty much. I just graduated undergraduate at Nova. So now my goal is to get into dental school. To do that, I need to improve my GPA or do very well on the DAT, which is the admissions test. Um, so that's what I'm dealing with now.
Okay. So you just graduated. What kind of stresses are you going through having to take this DAT and getting into graduate school?
Well, the test alone is very difficult. It takes months to prepare of like very hard, rigorous studying, and you need to do well on it. It can take it again for a couple of months, so you need to do well in order to get in. You have to do well enough to get a look, to have a chance to get in. Then obviously trying to deal with money. I need to like work, but you're not supposed to work while you're studying for it. You're supposed to take all of your time, and um, general stress of trying to study 8 hours a day is not too easy.
Okay. So I'm hearing you can't really have a job while you're going through this process. It's mostly just studying and studying and studying. Um, so let me ask you how has the studying been going so far?
Well, I haven't really started. Technically, I still have time, but I've been putting it off. So I'll actually have my prescription for my diagnosed ADD, so now that'll hopefully make my days more productive. But that'll be starting very, very soon because I'm going to plan to take the test at the end of September, so I still have a little over 3 months.
Okay. So you still have a couple months to study for this test,
Yeah.
even though you haven't quite started yet.
Yeah.
What's your plan to not? What's your plan? What's your study plan? To maybe not have it be so stressful. Do you have like a
Well,
set goal, like to
well,
study every day?
last summer I had initially tried to start studying for it, but the problem is I was taking two chemistry classes while I was studying for this test, so that really wasn't possible. So I've been through a course. I know what the time frames are. I know what the schedule is supposed to be like. So I actually have a developed schedule of what I'm going to follow every day. That my daily requirements, like this is what I'm going to do today, and that's it. Whatever. Like I'm going to go to the library, do all of that, do some other reading depending on the time frame I'm looking at, and that'll be it for the day. So I have a plan. I have everything in front of me. It's just doing it and doing it well enough is the hard part. But luckily, the main problem that I have with this test that I found last summer is, if I have extra time, I can get much, much more of the answers correct. And that's how it is for everyone. Like, technically, the time frame is, my opinion, the hardest part. Maybe not for others, but I take more time than other people. But potentially, because of this diagnosis, I might be able to get just a few extended minutes or something, which significantly could help improve my score. But we'll see.
Okay. So you're obviously dealing with your ADHD also, and you're worried, you're concerned about that potentially having an effect on your study ability, and also on your test taking ability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is there anything that you plan on doing in addition to taking the medication to potentially help you study for the test or help you prepare for the
Yeah,
test?
I mean, well, I need to get my time frames. I need to have my daily schedule set up. Like, I need to wake up, eat, take my prescription, go and study for that time frame, and not be distracted by anything. I just need to sit there and only study. So, like being here in my bedroom or like somewhere where I'm comfortable and distracted, I can't do. I need to go somewhere where I can be isolated, just to study for hours.
Mm-hmm.
That'll make my time productive.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan. Um, what else are you planning on doing? We obviously just talked about uh, your study habits for the DAT. What do you plan on doing just about the application process?
Well, that's an issue in itself as well because technically the applications for dental school opened up just a few days ago. Today is what, the 6th, 7th?
Today, I believe, is
10th, oh
9th or
Jesus,
10th.
10th. Kidding. But because they opened up the 4th, I believe. June 4th was the day they officially opened, and that's when they start accepting applications. Now, even if I were to open that up, I could fill out some of the stuff. I still need to have my recommendations and my like basic letters finished. and I need my test score as well in order to like submit a full application anywhere. And the additional problem about it is that technical, like early application is in the first 2 months. So if I'm not
Okay.
looking to take my test in September, then there's no way I'm gonna make any sort of early application. So and then as we talked about earlier, like this my test that's my problem, my GPA. My GPA is like at a 3. That's like not good. It's like not gonna get you looks. So with applications, so I'm not gonna apply to dental school for a couple of months. I'm gonna be working to get all of the little things that I need in order to apply besides my test score. Take my test. Depending how well I do on it, I'll apply to a few dental schools. If I don't do as well, then I'm gonna take the winner to apply to 1 year programs to potentially improve my GPA.
Okay. So you obviously have some backup plans in case everything doesn't go as planned getting into dental school. I hear you're a little bit concerned. You're nervous about your GPA because it is kind of like borderline. Um, Worried about your test score because you need an exceptional test score to even be considered for dental school. But it's definitely good that you have a backup plan in case things don't work out. Um, what what are you thinking of doing in case dental school doesn't in case everything doesn't go as planned?
Well, I won't know. I won't be set back like with my goals of dental school. Like pretty much, dental school is my goal. Like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get in. But I won't know like what step I have to take. Number one, until the test is over, and number two, when I start to apply in the winter time for applications for the fall outside of dental school, which I could find out for next summer. So it really depends on if even if I don't get the test score I need, it's not the worst thing in the world because I can still do a 1 year program, but I need to get into a 1 year program. So at that point, I will need to really consider a backup plan. But at this point, I don't have anything really prepared.
Okay. Um, is the 1 year program, is this something that's maybe a little bit easier to get into than dental school? That's why you're considering it to be
Yes,
partially your backup plan.
definitely. It's more like a well, actually, like some of the programs I'm looking into are very specific. Actually, for dental students that like or people want to get into dental school, like their 1 year programs designed around classes that are similar to dental school, and even some of those classes you take, those credits can actually transfer to a dental school. So yes, it might be easier because people are trying to do it, but it's still going to be very competitive because those kids who aren't getting into dental school are still going to be looking for these same exact programs. And some of them have like transfers into programs. Like Nova here has one, and they only take like 20 something students, and that's for medical and dental. So that's like crazy competitive. But there
Okay.
are programs at like Barry where they take a lot more people and it's cheaper, easier to get in, and pretty much just the same classes. So that's very viable, just not the name.
Okay. So you have a couple different plans set in place, a couple different schools to look at.
Yeah.
You obviously want to get into a school that's a little bit more prestigious because of the name and the degree and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
But anything helps, like if I can raise my GPA up with a few classes, like that's what dental school needs. I want to like I've been like I always haven't like I said my GPA isn't great, but it doesn't always invest. It's really progressive, so it's like not the worst thing. And if I keep on that progressive path and I do well on my tests, even if it's not really high the first time, if I could take it again and still reapply next summer and still have a pretty good chance to get in somewhere.
okay. So obviously your end goal is to get into dental school and and to keep this going. Um, do you have any actual worries? Because I know part of dental school is to do um, the application process and the interview process. Are you stressed about maybe once you get to the interview process? Anything with that?
I definitely need to. I should take like some practice. Like I can do practice mock interviews, but for the most part, like I don't know, like I've known that dental school is what I want to get into, so like I can very well answer the questions they're gonna ask. Like, I'll have my research based off the school for questions I want to ask about them, and um, whatever they're gonna ask me, I'm gonna be able to answer, and I'll be able to answer honestly, and it'll be easier for me. Like I've seen kids struggle knowing how to answer why they want to be a dentist, like what do they want to do, what are they trying to do, like what do you want to do. But I've learned that I know exactly what I do. I know exactly why I want to do it, and so that's interview doesn't really work for me. I think if I can get an interview, I have a very good chance to get in.
Okay. So what's the biggest thing troubling you with the whole process, whether it be the application, the interview, the test, the
It's
GPA? The biggest thing that's really um,
two biggest things that I'm facing. It's not my letters. It's not my recommendations. It's not that. It's having a high enough GPA to get filtered, to be seen before to actually get a chance to get accepted because there are just thousands of applicants, and my test score because you need a higher test score. The higher GPA, the higher test score you have, the higher you're put on the ladder to be seen and potentially get in.
mhm.
And as you go lower and lower, your percent chance diminishes and diminishes and diminishes.
Okay. So we already talked a little bit about the DAT and the test score and what you're going to do to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish that. You're going to study and put away enough time every day. Go to the library, get enough studying in. Um, what about your GPA? I know that's something that's a little bit tougher, just because, like you said, you already graduated.
Mm-hmm.
You planning, or what are your plans to help maybe raise that GPA?
Well, I might be able to take a class or two come spring just to replace a class or pick up another class to help add to it. But other than that, the 1 year program or 2 year program is my best option because that'll help me improve that because you're actually able to raise your undergraduate GPA for your dental applications through taking those programs. That's what they're literally designed for. So that's pretty much what the plan is.
So these graduate school programs help you raise your undergraduate GPA and
Mm-hmm.
will help get you into dental school.
Yeah,
Oh, that's very interesting. I never
yeah.
knew that.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of different, but they're all different. Tons of different kind. They're called different things. There's like public health. There's ones that are closely related to schools. There are ones that aren't so much. But so another thing is I have to do tons of research, and that's not exactly easy.
I like to do a ton of research through the grad school program.
Yeah, I have to find all of them. I mean, I got the idea of a couple of them, but I mean, I need to go through the. I have to find all the deadlines. I have to get all the research on them. I have to do letters for them. I have to figure out which ones I'm going to apply to, which ones are worth applying to, and I mean, like I'm going to be applying all the way from here at Barry and Nova's program to all the way, school like a school or two in Boston. So
Mhm.
I'm looking all on the East Coast to like find different schools that have that program that fit. Like I know of a school in California that has one, but it's not viable for me to go to California.
Right.
So
So let me ask you, what's you because you seemed obviously a little bit stressed out about doing all of these things. All these things seem a little bit daunting to you. So what's your plan to get through that process, to do all the research on the schools and get all the applications out that you need and do all the research and all that kind of stuff?
well, I have my plan. Like I'm pretty much gonna take it step by step. Pretty sure I have everything lined up decently well. Right now, my biggest concern is the missions test because I can't do anything about my GPA right now. I can't do anything about that. Like my letters and stuff and my papers aren't as relevant right now because I can do those right after my test. It's still plenty of time to do them. Like, so pretty much the plan is just take these big steps one at a time and just try to get everything done as best as I can.
That sounds acceptable to me. I'll tell you what though, we're getting close to running out of time here. Um, but from what I've heard so far, your plan for the DAT to take it one step at a time, dealing with your ADHD, and just allocating a certain amount of time where you go to the library. You don't, you've already eaten, you've already done everything you need to do for the day, and just go so you can focus on that. That sounds like a great plan to help you get focused to the DAT. Plus, you still have some time to study and prepare yourself, since the test is until September. And obviously, planning on doing the research should obviously be a separate part of your day, other than studying for the DAT, so you can kind of get that stuff going. I know it doesn't happen until after the test, but right after the test is done, you seem to have a plan, and I think as long as you follow that plan, the anxiety and the stress that you might feel might diminish, you know, substantially, just by doing those plans every day and taking it step by step. You have any other questions for me?
No, thank you. It's nice to hear the acceptance to my thoughts. My plan. Like, yeah, it's one thing to think it, but to do it's the hard part. So, try to do it.
No problem at
Yeah,
all.
thank you.
We'll pick this up next time.